Once upon a time, in a distant galaxy beyond the stars, there existed a kingdom on a lush, vibrant planet called Loria. The kingdom was ruled by the powerful and regal Queen Lyria, whose lineage had long been known for its strength, wisdom, and rule over the alien races scattered across their domain. Loria, however, was far from a peaceful world. It was a society where honor, tradition, and duty reigned supreme. Love was meant for their own kind, never for the fragile, volatile humans. Princess Arya, the youngest daughter of Queen Lyria, was beautiful, intelligent, and strong. Yet, she had always felt out of place in the rigid world of courtly life and its strict expectations. While her sisters and cousins dutifully focused on their training in politics, diplomacy, and warfare, Arya's heart wandered far beyond the palace walls. She was fascinated by the tales of the humans, those small, resourceful, and yet fragile beings who lived on distant planets in the far corners of the universe. Arya's fascination with humanity began when she encountered a human explorer, a man named Caleb, who had arrived on Loria's moon during a routine diplomatic visit. Caleb was unlike anyone she had ever met. His humor, his passion for exploration, and the spark of wonder in his eyes awakened something in her heart. Over the following months, they would meet in secret, often in hidden chambers or beneath the stars. They exchanged stories, dreams, and touched upon the differences between their worlds. Arya felt an intense connection with Caleb, one that transcended the boundaries of their races. For the first time in her life, she found someone who understood her, someone who made her feel truly alive. But love between different species, especially between an alien princess and a human, was forbidden. The laws of Loria were clear. Interracial relationships were considered a betrayal, a disgrace. To even think of such a union was unthinkable. Yet, Arya's heart was beyond her control, and she fell deeply in love with Caleb. One fateful evening, when Arya and Caleb shared their most intimate moment yet, their secret was discovered. It was not by chance, but by betrayal. One of Arya's closest attendants, a trusted servant who had been watching over her for years, had seen them together and reported the affair to Queen Lyria. The queen was furious when she learned that her daughter had dishonored their family and their people. She summoned Arya to the throne room immediately. "You have defiled the honor of our lineage, Arya." Queen Lyria's voice thundered as the princess entered the room, her heart pounding in her chest. "You have chosen a human over your own kind, over your kingdom, over your responsibilities. Do you realize the consequences of your actions?" Arya tried to speak, but the weight of her mother's anger silenced her. She knew there was no defending what she had done, yet her love for Caleb was undeniable. "You have betrayed everything I have taught you," the queen continued. "The people of Loria expect greatness from their rulers, and you have tarnished that legacy with your foolishness. For this, you must be punished." Tears welled in Arya's eyes, but she held her ground. "I love him, mother. I love Caleb, and he loves me," she whispered, though her words felt like fragile glass shattering in the air. Her mother's face twisted in disgust. "Enough! You will never see him again. You will be exiled to the distant borderlands of our empire, away from the court and the people. You will live in solitude until you have learned the consequences of your foolish actions. Perhaps that will teach you a lesson in loyalty." The punishment was harsh. Arya was stripped of her royal title and banished from the palace to a remote, desolate planet on the outskirts of their empire, a world covered in barren deserts where no one would dare venture. Caleb, too, was sent back to his own world, and all communication between the two was severed. The heartbroken princess was left to wander the wastelands of the empire, far from the warmth of her once vibrant life. Months passed, and Arya, now a shadow of the proud princess she once was, found herself living in the harsh conditions of the borderlands. She was no longer the pampered royal. She worked tirelessly just to survive, battling the elements, and struggling against the loneliness that gnawed at her soul. She thought of Caleb every day, wondering what had become of him, if he ever thought of her, and if he too was suffering in silence. One day, while scavenging for supplies in the ruins of an ancient alien city, Arya stumbled upon something that would change her life forever. Beneath the dust and debris, she discovered a hidden chamber. Inside, she found relics, records and artifacts from a long-forgotten civilization that had once thrived on this planet. One of the artifacts was a strange, glowing device, a communications relay of some sort. As she activated it, the device hummed to life, its interface lighting up with images and sounds from distant galaxies. To her amazement, a familiar face appeared on the screen. It was Caleb. Arya. His voice was soft, but filled with emotion. I found a way to contact you. I couldn't forget you. I couldn't let them take you from me. Tears filled Arya's eyes as she realized that Caleb, too, had never stopped loving her. They spoke for hours, exchanging their deepest thoughts, their pain, and their hope. Arya's heart swelled with a newfound determination. She refused to live in exile, to hide away in silence. She was a princess, and she had the power to shape her own destiny. With Caleb's help, Arya began to plan her escape. They communicated through the hidden relay, carefully crafting a plan to reunite and return to Loria. The borders were heavily guarded, but Arya was resourceful and clever, and Caleb, a man of action, had learned the art of stealth during his travels. One stormy night, after months of planning, Arya escaped her exile, leaving behind the barren world that had once been her prison. Caleb, too, had managed to find a way to return to Loria, where the two would meet once again. But as Arya made her way back to the palace, she was confronted by her mother, the powerful Queen Lyria. The queen was furious, her eyes blazing with rage. "You dare return after defying me?" she spat, her voice filled with venom. "You will never be accepted here. You will never be my daughter again." Arya stood tall, no longer the frightened girl she once was. She had lived through pain and punishment, and now she was ready to claim her own path. "I'm not asking for your approval, mother," Arya said, her voice steady and strong. "I have chosen my own life. I love Caleb, and I will not be ashamed of it." The queen's eyes softened for a moment, the fury in them fading. But it was quickly replaced by a deep sadness. "You have made your choice," she said, her voice tinged with sorrow. "I can never forgive you for this, but perhaps, in time, you will find happiness." With that, Arya turned her back on her royal life. She and Caleb left the kingdom behind, choosing to live among the humans. Arya had learned that true love knew no boundaries, and that happiness could only be found when one followed their heart. In the end, Arya and Caleb forged a new life together, not as a princess and a human, but as two souls bound by love, transcending the expectations of a world that had tried to tear them apart. And though the road ahead was uncertain, they knew that they were stronger together, and that their love would always be worth the struggle.